or Reform Party. Thanks for joining us. What do you believe is the significance of these concessions, as they're being called, these announcements that are being made by President Saleh?
Thanks for calling. Really, I mean, we are really in Yemen thinking that the full initiative is under the control of the regime. And during full lack of power of the parliament and also of the government and any expected government, we are really in a critical situation where strikers, peaceful youth strikers, are facing nerve gas by the regime. And we have so many casualties now. And, you know, these nerve gas, people are in the field hospitals, they are lack any background experience to deal with all these casualties. So we are in very critical situation, and we don't think that this is the time for new initiatives. The initiative addressing GBC and not the youth revolutionary strikers and peaceful demonstrators in the streets in all over Yemen.
Why do you think President Saleh made these announcements at this time? What the loud voice of the strikers in the streets, that for this regime should step down, and if there is any new initiatives and real initiatives, it should be tackled the mechanism of swift, peaceful of handing over of the power, rather than new initiatives for, governments, new governments, new parliaments, all these things. I don't think that this is addressing the real, message for the people. People are now in the streets all over Yemen, and all have just one loud voice stepping down of the regime. And there doesn't appear to be much support for what he's saying. The opposition have rejected it outright. They say that's not good enough. As you pointed out, they want Saleh to step down immediately, not in 2013, as he wants to. There is also division in the leader's own party.
Yes, maybe yes. But really, there are so many, challenges now facing these strikers in the street. As I said before, there are not only tear gas bombs, but bombs of nerve gas, which is part of the mass destruction weapons. This is really illegal. This is, what can I say? Beyond, even expectation for the people. So this is the real challenge. People are all who have just one voice that's stepping down. Any initiative should be, dealing with, handing over of the power, rather than new initiatives for new, activities in the parliament and government, which really, all people in Yemen and also all stakeholder observers, they are just knowing very well that all these, bodies, parliament, governments have lack of power. The total power is under control of the regime of Saleh.
Okay, Dr. Ghanem, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Yemen's leader is not the only one to announce reform measures while facing mass protests. In Morocco, King Mohammed VI has made a rare television appearance, promising change.
I am addressing my people today because I feel the gravity of the situation and the developments happening to our democratic system. I also want to talk about a review of our constitution and the reforms that we're planning to introduce. We're going to ask for a referendum on the constitution. We have been discussing a lot of constitutional reviews since we ascended to the throne.
People in the United Arab Emirates are also calling for a popularly elected parliament. 160 Emiratis have signed an online petition to President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The group of academics and political activists want free and democratic elections. Hundreds of students calling for reform in Bahrain are keeping up their pressure on the leadership. They marched to Pearl Square in Manama, the focal point of anti-government demonstrations. They complain of discrimination by Sunni leaders against the majority Shia population. Human rights group Amnesty International has condemned the heavy-handed tactics used by the Egyptian army in Tahrir Square. Reformers say they were attacked by men armed with knives, machetes and rocks on Wednesday. The military then moved in to clear the area of protesters, detaining many people. Egyptian opposition politician Mohamed El Baradei has confirmed he will run for president in elections due later this year. The Nobel laureate will be up against the outgoing Arab League chief Amir Moussa.
I intend to run for elections as soon as the door for voting is open. I will work from now, and it is my intention to run for office.
Well, Kevin Carvo is here with the weather. Kevin? Australian flooding. More.
Yeah, we have looked at this flooding situation for the last several months. It started at the end of December. We had a cyclone going through, and now this is what we're seeing. We have some fresh video coming out of northern Queensland. This is an area that has been inundated for 3 months now. We have actually some cities that are cut off from transportation. Some of those areas are actually low on food as well as medicine, so we'll be needing to watch this area very closely. Let's take a look at the forecast.
As the fog hangs warily over London, we can always offer you the perfect pick-me-up.
Here's the area that we're talking about. The heavy flooding and rains are coming out of this area of low pressure right here in northern parts of Australia. Now, over the next couple of days, more rain, unfortunately, is going to be falling here. This is a La Nina year, which means enhanced flooding in this area, so that is exactly what we are seeing. Take a look at the forecast map, and you can see the area of circulation right here. This is what's bringing rain into the region. We're expecting to see more rain all the way through the weekend, so unfortunately, heavy flooding is going to be a problem there. I want to take you now over towards parts of the United States and show you what we expect to see for the next couple of days. On Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we saw 16 tornadoes touch down here along the Gulf Coast. That's all due to this frontal boundary. Now, that's now pushing out into the Atlantic. And we do expect to see some clear weather coming in. But for parts of Canada, we have seen excessive amounts of snow over the last couple of days. From Montreal, Ottawa, as well as Quebec City, we are still expecting to see more snow in the forecast. But down here towards the southeast, it's looking very fine and dry. Temperatures are actually coming up for that region. Over towards Europe, the big problem has been Greece as well as Turkey. A major snowstorm has been pushing through. Turkey is still expecting to see more heavy snow over the next day or so, but we are expecting as we go into the weekend that will finally start to ease, but the snow is still going to be a problem on the ground.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
An earthquake has hit a remote area of southwest China, killing at least 14 people. The epicenter of the 5.8 magnitude quake was southwest of Dali town in Yunnan province. Many houses and buildings are reported to have collapsed. The Dalai Lama has announced he'll be stepping down as political head of the exiled Tibetan movement. He says it's time for a freely elected leader to take over. The announcement comes on the anniversary of the 1959 Tibetan uprising against Chinese rule, but he remains Tibet's spiritual leader.
As early as the 1960s, I have repeatedly stressed that Tibetans need a leader, elected freely by the Tibetan people, to whom I can cede power. Now, we have clearly reached the time to put this into effect.
China and India will be watching those developments with great interest. Our correspondents are in New Delhi and Beijing with the latest reaction.
This comes just a few days after China has said during its annual session of the National People's Congress that the future Dalai Lama is to be reincarnated and not elected, presumably to allow the Chinese to select their reincarnation. Now, on Thursday, the Chinese Foreign Ministry came out with a typically strong response when it comes to Tibetan affairs.
The Dalai Lama is always a political figure in exile trying to split China in the long term in the name of religion. He's the leader of the Tibetan Independence Party, which is serving the independence of Tibet. In recent years, he has often claimed that he wanted to retire, but I think he's playing tricks with the international community.
The Dalai Lama retains